This video is going to show you how to let go and finally move on. It was the heartbreak advice that I wish I knew earlier in my life that would make things so much easier, and that would also save me so much time, because it took me a lot of time and a lot of experience in order to learn this. There's a hard way to learn it, and there's somewhat of an easier way to learn it, and that's because of awareness. Now, first off, there's a quote that explains this beautifully. It's from Sufi Rumi. And it says this, it says, quote, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens," end quote. And this is such a powerful quote when I first read it, and it's still a powerful quote now that I've read it. But basically, the more we break our heart, not that we're going to go out and try to break our heart, but what happens is from heartbreak, you are able to open up your heart more and more, have more and more unconditional love, and really let go of the boundaries and the blocks that we put around our heart, and we don't even know it. Because sometimes what we're doing by avoiding the heartbreak and by avoiding feeling the emotions that come up is we're not letting the transformation happen. We're not letting ourselves feel the energy that comes up from the rejection, the abandonment that we may feel from an actual heartbreak. So one thing we want to become aware of this is this one piece of awareness right here, I think will completely change the perspective of the whole thing if you really sit with it. And that is that everything in life has no meaning other than the meaning we give it. There is a story that we tell ourselves about our ex. There's a story that we tell ourselves about ourselves and our relationship that is on autopilot. And if the story is that the ex was the one shot at love, that the ex is the person that you were supposed to make it work with, then guess what? That person's on a pedestal, and what's really on the pedestal is the story that you tell yourself about them. That's really what it's about. Now, sometimes what happens is people will, after a breakup, they may start focusing on themselves. They may start focusing on their own lives and like their friends, and they might start focusing on other things in their life, and that helps them move on, because what they've done is they've taken the attention and the power away from it being all on the story about their ex and their one shot at love. They start putting it into another factor of their life, and then you know what they find? They find that they create meaning there. So really what happens when it comes to heartbreak advice and just in general letting someone go is really what you're doing is you're taking the meaning that you gave so much emphasis and meaning to in a relationship, and you're investing that back in yourself. The fear that you will not meet somebody else that you have a deep meaning with, really what that is you're afraid that you're never going to be able to create meaning again. That's really what it is. I will not be able to find deep meaning with anybody else because my shot was with this one person, which of course from the outside looking in feels a little bit ridiculous. You probably look at a friend and you're like, oh, there's so many people out there. But in their mind, their story is so strong that it's really hard for them to let that go. And really what's hard to let go is not the person, by the way. It's the story about the person. It's the meaning given to the person. Because sometimes and many times what happens is we recreate similar childhood dynamics of things that happened when we were a kid. We recreate that with our partners and the people that we're dating. And if they reject us, it feels like we're getting rejected like we did when we were kids. So if you had a parent that was emotionally or physically abandoning, there was these beliefs and thoughts that came up, these meanings that came up that said, oh, there's something wrong with me. I must not be worthy. And then what happens is you might be in a relationship now, and what happens is things fall through, and there's a fighting for your own sense of worthiness. There's a fighting like, no, please don't. It's because we don't want to recreate the same childhood dynamics that happened when we were kids. So it's about really being aware with, is it really about this person, or am I fighting for a similar childhood dynamic that felt familiar? Because we familiarize energies that from when we were kids that felt familiar, we normalize it within ourselves. That's what we think love is. And then we're afraid of being abandoned or rejected, not knowing that actually feels familiar, and that's why you're attracted to begin with. So This is really about letting this heartbreak or whatever you're going through right now, let yourself sit with the emotions and let yourself feel it and know that as you're feeling it, you're healing it. As you're feeling it, you're becoming aware of all of this, and you're able to then allow that energy to flow. Because when we resist the heartbreak, we're resisting being rejected or abandoned like we felt like when we were kids. We're putting our personal growth and we're putting our own evolution of our relationship and the way we relate to other people on the back burner. And it's like we're avoiding it. So instead of feeling it, we may do a couple things. We may try to go back to our ex and recreate that same familiar childhood dynamic. We might go sleep with other people because that numbs the pain for a while. We may stay in the story for a long time and vent about it and not let them go and then vent to our friends and family for a very long time. These are all mechanisms that we may use to avoid the heartbreak. But realizing that the heartbreak is the key to opening our hearts, that changes everything, because then we're changing the meaning to the heartbreak itself. You see, all this has zero built-in meaning other than the meaning we give it, as I mentioned earlier. And looking at the heartbreak, listening to someone like Sufi Rumi, poet Rumi, and realizing that you keep breaking your heart until it opens, what that allows you to do, it allows you to then change and apply that meaning so that you can really transform to really allow that love in a powerful way. So this is really about having that level of awareness within yourself of that energy. So this is about, and I even looked to my own life with this. My own life, when the one of the most challenging things I've ever been through in my life, hands down, is heartbreak. And that heartbreak meant to me that there's something wrong with me, that I am not worthy of being loved. I literally thought that was like my one shot. And what I was really trying to do is I was trying to prove to this other person that I'm enough. Please choose me and prove to me I'm enough. And the game changer for me was actually one day when I was actually doing something called plant medicine with my buddy Victor. And it was bringing up some stuff for me. And I realized in this moment that what I thought was in my ex that was so hard for me to let go of was actually a very similar energy to what I experienced in childhood with my mom. It went all the way back to my mom, where I felt like there was a version of not having my needs met. And this is normal. Most people, we don't need to normalize it, but we can realize that it's, what I realized is it wasn't my fault. That's what I realized. I realized it wasn't my fault that mom or dad wasn't physically meeting my needs as a kid. And where I thought with my ex, for example, is I thought that I wasn't able to meet her needs or I wasn't enough because she didn't choose me. What ended up happening is I internalized that and said, see, I'm not enough. There's something wrong with me. The game changer was when I realized that that was the same childhood energy, and I realized that it wasn't my fault. And then even then, it's not that I'm putting blame on them and saying it's their fault. But what I realized is I don't need to internalize and think there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. It's a neutral thing. It just didn't work out. Just like when I was a kid, with my mom or my dad not feeling like my needs were met, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't like I'd internalize that, like there's something wrong with me. If I was a little bit more, it wouldn't have happened. Instead, I was able to realize, oh, it wasn't my fault. Not that it's their fault, but that was their stuff, not mine. It was their stuff, and they may have had that stuff from their parents. It was just it was more of a pattern than anything else. And that's what I realized with my heartbreaks in my life is I was trying to prove to them that I'm good enough. I was trying to prove to them, in a way, something that I could only really understand or realize myself. And when I let myself look at that energy and that awareness, that's when my life really began to change, because what I was really able to do was stop internalizing shame. And remember this too, the key to curing the heartbreak is actually opening your heart and having vulnerability. And we do these things in our life to hide our own sense of vulnerability. I was hiding my own vulnerability by like being a nice guy or a people pleaser, trying to get other people to like me, losing my center of gravity. It was very hard for me to set boundaries. These were all mechanisms I was using to avoid showing the real me. But then what happened is I began to actually express the real me. I began to actually open my heart when I was dating. I began to actually show the real me, and it changed everything. And any of you can do that by making the choice to look at this heartbreak, to feel what comes up, but then to realize, what is this energy, and is it similar energy from childhood? And maybe that is what the addiction is. Maybe that's what the attachment is. It's really attachment. And we are attached to similar energies as kids. And until we become aware of it, we live within the autopilot mind and the autopilot energy of it. But what changes everything is when we look at that meaning and we decide to give it new meaning. We realize that mom and dad divorcing when you were a kid, mom leaving, dad leaving, them physically not meeting your needs, emotionally abandoning you, whatever it was, that was their stuff, not yours. It's not because you're not worthy. And then as you realize that it's not because you're not worthy, you realize you are worthy. It's really about, by the way, letting go of the belief that you're not worthy, and then you'll naturally just feel worthy. I realize, wait, I am worthy of love. I am worthy. Like, somebody that feels worthy would not choose somebody that doesn't like them or that isn't emotionally there for them. So becoming aware, then it's about having a sense of worthiness. It's like, oh, I'm worthy of love, and I date people who choose me. It's a completely different energy once you become aware of it. And like I said, there's no blame or anything on any of this. It's awareness. That's it. And the more aware you become, the more you're able to actually heal. And the more that then what happens is you're able to open up your heart, because the key to attracting love, by the way, and the key to moving on is opening up your heart. It's letting go of the old story, and it's also investing your energy and your meaning back into you. Because a lot of times what happens is people project their energy at their ex, and that they can feel that. Energy, we're all connected, we're all one consciousness. When we think about someone, we're literally projecting energy at them, and when you project energy at somebody else, and it makes them run. Because the energy that's going out to them is needy energy too. It's like, I want you to do something differently than what you're doing. There's resistance there. Pull your energy back. And really what that means is take back the meaning and put it into yourself. I've seen so many people that are hung up on their ex. They're hung up, and it's hard for them to let go. And then what they do is they start putting the energy back within themselves. They have fun with friends. They focus on their purpose. They get back into the gym. They start doing things for them. And then what happens is they're pulling their energy back. And then all of a sudden, love comes into their life. The person might come back, but you got to really understand is what is actually serving you. Becoming aware of all of these different things. So with this, it's really about power and understanding that power is already within you. Now, there is something below. If you want me to send you a text and my top epiphanies, my top insights, 2 or 3 times a week, you can text me at 424-304-0104 or click the link below. And those are where I send my top. You can also ask me questions, and I'll be either replying or putting them into YouTube videos. And that's a way of staying connected a couple times a week. And then one of the most powerful videos I have is to how to let them miss you, how to let go, and how to trust that the universe will figure it all out. It's one of my most powerful videos. Watch this right now to really wire it in. When we're attached, what we do is we create resistance. And this resistance is dependent on how someone else is responding or not responding to our own energy. Now, one of the most attractive things you can do is to actually